Today we're going to work on lesson 4.6, which is writing equations in slope-intercept form. The next three lessons, all we're going to be doing is writing equations, but given different information. Today you're going to be given the slope and the y-intercept, or just the graph. So slope-intercept form, remember, is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So that being said, we're going to, on each graph, find the y-intercept, which is -1 over here, and over here it's -3. Then we're going to find the slope, and you got to look for 2 points. So I'll use that point and the y-intercept, and I'm going up 1, 2, so my rise is 2. My run is 1, 2, 3, but it's going backwards. Over here, I'm going to use that point and this point. The closer you can find 2 points together would be better. And I wouldn't use anything that's like halfway in between. Excuse me. So my rise is 2. My run is 1, both going up and to the right, so it's 2. So my equation for this, here's my slope, here's my y-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. Same thing over here. Here's my y-intercept, here's my slope. Y equals mx plus b. And I could put 2 over 1, but 2 over 1 is the same as 2. So how can you write an equation of a line when you're given the slope and the y-intercept? Well, slope is m, y-intercept is b, and you plug them into your equation. So it says work with a partner. We're going to do it all together. You're going to find the slope of each line, find the y-intercept of each line, and then write an equation for each line, and then we're going to find out what they all have in common. So let's start with the blue line. The slope, I'm going to use this point, which is also my y-intercept, and this point. So I've got a rise of 1, a run of 2, so y equals 1/2 x, and my y-intercept is a +4. Now let's do the red. Again, here's my y-intercept. There's a point, 1, 1, 2. So y equals 1/2 x plus 1. And finally, the green line. Here's my y-intercept. Here's a point, 1, 1, 2. Y equals 1/2 x minus 2, because my y-intercept is a -2. So I found the slope of each line, the y-intercept, I wrote an equation. What do all three lines have in common? Hopefully you're noticing that all three lines have the same slope, which if you remember back to previous lessons, that means they are parallel. Let's do the same thing here. Same things. We're going to find the slope, the y-intercept, and then write an equation and see what they all have in common. Let's start with the red line. Y-intercept is 3, so I know I'm going to do +3. Let's see. Here's another point. Slope then is 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. So 4/3 x plus 3. So there's the red line. Here's the green line. Same thing, +3. Pretty sure you can figure out what they have in common. Oh, another point way over here. So it's a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1/6 x, y equals 1/6 x plus 3. And our blue, if you notice, it's going down. So I'm going to use this point. I got down 1, 1, 2, 3. So y equals a -1/3 x plus 3. What do these all have in common? They all have the same y-intercept, which you can probably see on the graph. Doesn't mean they're perpendicular. It doesn't mean they're parallel. It definitely doesn't mean they're parallel. They have all the different slopes, but none of the slopes are opposite and inverted. So no parallel lines here, or perpendicular lines, sorry. This is going to be something you are doing in your homework. So pay attention. You are going to, I don't need you to find the area of the parallelogram. I'm not going to worry about that, but you need to write an equation that represents each side of the parallelogram, which means I'm going to have 4 equations, okay? 4 equations. So let's start with this line. I know my y-intercept is 4, so I can write plus 4, y equals something else, x plus 4. It is a straight line. So that means if I go from this point to this point, I'm going up none. So 0 over, we'll say 2, which gives me 0. So this basically cancels out. So instead of this, I'm just going to say y equals 4. Now, let's look down at this one. It's the same thing, parallel line, or to that one, no slope. So we'll call this line number 3. Y equals, and my y-intercept is at a -2, so I'm just going to say y equals -2 because the slope would be 0. I suppose you could write y equals 0x plus 4 and y equals 0x minus 2, but you don't need the slope in there because there isn't a slope, it's 0. Now let's do the diagonal lines. These are going to be a little bit trickier because we need to find the y-intercept. Y equals something x, and then the y-intercept. And this one doesn't cross. So what you're going to have to do is find the slope. So I'm going to use this point and this point. 1, 2, and then backwards 1. So my slope is -2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing that. Up 2 to the left 1. Up 2 to the left 1. Now I'm going to have to pretend there's some lines here. I'm just going to pretend. Here's my y-axis. And I'm going up 2 to the left 1. So here's where I would cross my y-axis. You may have to extend your graph a little bit. And this is 7 and 8. So this would be a positive 8. My other diagonal line, I'm also going to have to do the same thing. But you notice it's a parallelogram, right? So these two are parallel. So I can already say that it's -2x. Now I just have to find where it crosses the y-axis. So again, you may have to add a few lines down here. There we go, kind of extend the graph a little bit. And we're going to go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1. There's where I'm crossing. This is -5, so this would be -6. So -6. You're going to have some of these on your homework where you're just going to have to write an equation for each side of the shape. Here they are, each side of the shape. So again, they're parallelograms. So probably going to have the same slope. So we'll start here. Here's a point, 1, 2 over 1. So y equals 2x. Okay, we got to continue. 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1. So this would be 5, 6 plus 6. So I'm going to do the one over here. We already see the y-intercept, so that one would be y equals 2x. And we could put plus 0, but you don't need it. This one, same thing, already have the y-intercept. Here's a point, up 1, to the right 2. So y equals 1/2 x plus 0 if you need to. Again, already have it, so this would be y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So we have all 4. If you want to do the number 2, you can. I am going to skip it to keep going with our lesson. Just have to write the equations. You have the y-intercept. They even give you this. This would be, so 3, so we have y equals a negative, 3/2 x plus 5. Same thing here. Rise would be 5, run would be 3, so y equals 5/3 x minus 3 is our y-intercept. That's what you're doing, finding equations. So take a moment, pause the video, find the equations for these two graphs, and then start it back up and we'll do it together. Here we go. Y-intercept I already know is 2. Rise over run, so y equals 2x plus 2. One over here, y-intercept. Notice it's going down, so I know my slope is going to be a negative. And let's see, go from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, so negative 4/3 x minus 1. So we already talked about horizontal lines. So our horizontal line here crosses at -4. So because it's a horizontal line, it's going to be y equals, and crosses at -4, so -4. So letter A is our answer. If you were to do a vertical line, you aren't going to have too many of them, but if you're going to do a vertical line, it would be x equals whatever the number is. We've done these before, but just to remind you. So our exit ticket, we've got 2 questions here. What is the slope and the y-intercept of the equation y equals 2x plus 4? Well, our slope is 2, and our y-intercept is a positive 4. Our second question then is to write an equation with a line with a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 1. So y equals 3x plus 1. Your homework is short and sweet, only 10 questions. So your homework is below this video, 4.6 exercises, 1 through 10. All of this is in Go Formative. Please let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.